Hey, there we go. Third time's a charm, right, guys? Third time in 6 minutes. I guess that's better than it has been. Some nuts who tried for 20 minutes and not gotten anywhere. So, but anyway, going to be probably a short episode tonight. Like I mentioned on the posts, I am on the road, and I will not be back home until tomorrow, and probably going to be home out of town next weekend as well. So next Sunday, once again, will be a crapshoot on timing as far as how things work out. So Hubcap Dylan here with his new handle, David W. on, Ron Levesque here with us. Ryan and Amy made it tonight. Pete's here, Connie here. Glad you guys all made it. Not a lot to talk about tonight. My entire week's just been kind of a disaster, just trying to stay caught up, knowing I was going to be gone. I left town Thursday, I think. I don't know. It's all kind of, everything's been kind of a blur these last 3 or 4 days. So Jim made it tonight. So anyway, not a ton to talk about tonight because basically all I was trying to do was get stuff shipped and be ready to get out of town because I knew most of this weekend was going to be gone. And then, like I said, next weekend, probably going to be out of town as well. So next week we'll be kind of up in the air. If I get a minute, I'll try to jump on. We'll just have to play it by ear. But when we're out on the road, I'm always looking for antique shops, things like that to stop at and check out. And I did find a pretty good one yesterday with a lot of signs, a lot of cans. So a lot of man cave type stuff. I was very impressed. I don't think there was a DVD or a plate in the place, which kind of crazy to think about. That's tough to find anymore. So John made it. Ken stopped by. How far am I from Salina? About 70 miles. Kenny made it tonight. We're about 70 miles from Salina. So, but so like I said, we don't have a lot to go over tonight. We'll check in, see how your guys' weeks have been going, see what all's hanging out, and what you've been up to. Because like I said, most of my week pretty much just a rat race, knowing I was going to be out of town. And when that happens, I know that everything's going to be a mad dash. But like I said, when I found this cool stuff yesterday, I knew I had to share it with you. It's going to be almost kind of more like a Toy Tuesday type thing tonight with this stuff. And see how things are going in guys' world. Speaking of which, another Studebaker, shockingly, surprisingly to no one. But let's see what you guys have been up to. I haven't even looked at the Nobody's page in the last couple of days because everything's been so crazy. I know I'm kind of at a weird angle here, and I was trying to stay in frame. But if you can see behind me where the light's kind of flickering, when I actually had the light right above my head, it was almost like a strobe. It's like, that's probably going to drive everybody nuts. So I'm going to try to stay in frame, but that's kind of how the angle had to work because that light would have driven everybody insane. So, but kind of nutso. I'll show it to you real quick. Check that out. Yeah, I don't think anybody wanted to stare at that while we were on. Oh, that was a lot. So anyhow, piecing engine together from stuff laying around. Let's check out what is going on the Nobody's page. Appreciate you throwing the update up there, Matt. I don't always think about getting over onto that page. I try to get posts made on my pages, so I always appreciate you guys when you catch up with it and get it on the Nobody's page so everybody knows. 245 Studebaker. Looks like a fun project. James got Grandpa to the A&W cruising. A&W is always a winner because then you get root beer. Never a bad plan when you're going to the A&W because you're going to get root beer. Jeff from Ottawa there. Kevin's stopping by tonight. Cream City Pete. Oh, stuff he got at Iola and Appleton Car Show. That is an awesome set of 5 slots. Those are some classics, even with BFG rubber on it. That's awesome. So Pete had a good day at the swap meet the way it looks. Sweet. 67 Mustang, $500. If the rest that's there, Eric, that looks like a pretty good deal, actually. Obviously no drivetrain, but even a Ford's worth 500 coming from Pete. Yeah, surprisingly. So anyway, guys, like I said, hadn't even stopped to catch up with the Nobody's page. So appreciate the support over there. Neil stopping by tonight for a bit. And so glad you guys are still keeping up with that. It's great that you guys are, that community continues to build and grow with the posts over there, and you guys keeping up with your own projects, and then the support of all the members of the group for everybody that's on there. So, but anyway, like I said, I don't have a lot to talk about tonight, but I found some great stuff. So we're going to share some of that with you. Keep an eye on comments. When we one thing I do want to catch real quick before I forget, before we get sidetracked. Okay, we were going to do the raffle in 2 weeks anyway, so that won't matter because since I was wondering if we had talked about doing it next week or the week after. Looks like the 3rd would be the week after. I think that's what we had talked about. So the raffle on the cord hubcap will be in 2 weeks. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have that noted down for next week since I probably am going to be in town. Big Red stopping by tonight. John picked up, it has to be a 50s tire change machine with a can of old weights. Well, it's pretty tough to go too wrong at $10. So actually, I got something on an estate sale Friday that is really pretty cool too. I don't think we can get it in here tonight. It would be kind of bulky, but it's pretty cool as well. We may do that on Toy Tuesday, or I may just do a whole video on it once I find out a little bit more research on it and figure out what I've actually got. I know what it is. It is a factory Chevrolet accessory, but I got to figure out the year. I'd never seen one, so I've got to figure out the year. I think it's late 60s or what year of Windows it was available. I think it was station wagon. I don't think it was pickup. I think it was a station wagon piece, so I got to do a little research on it, but I did get that in a estate sale Friday. I'm kind of excited about that as well. So, yeah, for $10, I mean, there's pretty much no way to go too wrong with that. Oh, if it's got great graphics and small enough to display, that's a huge win. Definitely a huge win. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into some of the pieces I found and spend a few minutes with those. And like I said, it's going to be a short episode tonight, guys, but just obviously can't drag everything with me, but didn't want to forget about you and skip if everything worked. And it only took 3 tries and 6 minutes, but we got connected. So let me go grab the first can. Okay, this first little can, we've got a lot of Texaco stuff. Addie was huge into Texaco. We've got everything from pins to 72-inch signs. You know, we've got a 1951 Star that's a 72-inch. We've got a Tomahawk, Texaco, you know, a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, none of the stuff I bought this week, Jim, was $10. So I can guarantee you that. So, yeah, that's definitely a win for $10. We actually found a Texaco can yesterday that we've never seen before. 3 cans, actually, of Vidal and another company we'd never even heard of. So we'll get to those here in a minute. But this is a Texaco can that and like I said, we've got a lot of Texaco cans. Never seen this particular one. This was some sort of a, hey, Big Rig Brett. This was some sort of a bulk type dispense type thing. I'm going to pop the lid off this thing and show you the inside of it. This was new stock. It was full. We actually did have to clean it out. But this actually has, still in it, and it was actually on top of the grease because it was still full, a metal piece here that actually is removable. This was on top of the grease. And whatever type of dispenser this was in, you know, that would push pressure. Oh, check it out. Super chat for Big Rig Brett starting the night off. There we go, except we don't have the Supercharged Super Chat badge with us tonight. So, unfortunately, we'll have to give you one of those in a couple weeks, probably if I'm not home tonight. But huge shout out to Big Rig Brett for the first Super Chat of the night. We'll make believe we've got the Supercharged Super Chat badge ready to go. So, thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. There goes the hearts. So, this was some sort of a dispenser type can, Supercharged Texaco can. So we took this out, cleaned the grease out of it, and then, of course, put this piece back in so that we obviously wanted to keep it. Still got the original lid. And the can itself, as you guys can kind of see, is just all metal. It actually has a paper label on it. Marfac. This was Marfac grease. And I'm going to call this late 40s based on the car that's on it. So over here, we see the Texaco and the Marfac, and this is literally a paper label on a metal can, which Texaco, was a huge company. There were a lot of companies that did use, and we've seen several of them, like a blue universal type 1 pound grease can where their name was printed on it. But those were a lot of times regional type companies. Texaco never hardly did anything like that. They were so huge, they had their own cans. So for this to just be a paper label on a metal can was really odd. Marfac made his car ride so cushiony, he's spoiled. The Texas company, Texaco dealers in all 48 states. Hey, there's Charles. There's the car on this one. This is why I'm going to put this thing in the 40s era. That's the same with me, Big Red. We had never seen it. And they always say if you've never seen something, that's the time to buy it when you do. Marfac made his car so cushiony, he's spoiled. Lots of hearts flowing, guys. This is a really odd, rare can, and this is the other ones are way cooler than this, and this one's pretty cool. So the fact that this survived with the paper label intact on this plain metal can with the plunger still intact, needless to say, we were pretty excited. We got this at a shop, along with a couple of other cans, and this guy said they had bought a local guy's collection that he had had for decades, and that's where these cans came from. They said there was some really good stuff in there, which I can't imagine what was in there because the stuff that I think we got was really, really good. So I was pretty excited about what we got, so I can't imagine what they sold off a year or two ago when they first got the collection. But this one is a pretty cool can. Actually, I need to get a tape measure here. Hold on just a second. Let me go grab a tape measure so I can show you guys the size on this one. I got to run over to the other room. I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to grab a tape measure. I'll grab one out of the truck. All right. Just to give you guys an idea, new Chevy fog lamp. Which one are we talking about, Gene? I had a used 41 come in a couple weeks ago. It's the only one I can think of as of recently. 4 inches. Get the angle right so you guys can see it. Hey, Bill Disc. By about 3.5 across the top. So, well, now the Bill's here. We can get to the next piece here in a minute. So there again, I thought that was great. When we see a Texaco can that we've never seen before, we were kind of excited. Let's put that one off the side. And we also got another red line. This one, I think it's like a 32 Ford wagon, late 60s era, early 70s, on this cool little red line. Check this thing out. I love the blue they used in this era. Hot rod type setup. Pretty decent shape. Pretty good paint on this one. All the original tires and wheels are there. Bottom still pretty clean. So pretty decent old red line that we didn't have. Yep, I figured Bill would appreciate that one. On to another can. Or a sign. We got a sign, then we got cans. I can do the sign. It's right here. I got another soda sign. Now, obviously, we do a lot of gas and oil, but I do like some soda stuff occasionally. I'm not big into like Coke stuff. I like root beers, 7-Up, Sprite type, the little more off-brand type soda stuff. And I found one of those. I figured I'd grab it and add it to the collection as well. This one is a 7-Up piece. I'm thinking this is 60s. It is single-sided tin painted. Fresh up with 7-Up. Wow. I actually thought this had, when I was looking at it at the beginning, I thought this was overspray. Now, it does have some staining here from like when the rice paper was on it. I doubt that will polish out. But it still has pretty good color and graphics. It's got a little bit of wear up here, a little bit of paint loss at the bottom. But this actually is part of the graphic. I thought somebody had got some black overspray on it. Lots of hearts. The hearts are just pouring on this thing. So this is actually black graphics to make it look like it's coming at you. So dimension-wise on this, hey, there's Big Job. 28. $28 by $20 on the 7-Up. Like I said, it is single-sided tin. The backside is just plain. But, like I said, I like soda signs that are a little different, not just your regular run-of-the-mill Coke stuff. I've got a little bit of Coke stuff, but this is the kind of stuff I like. It's one thing about 7-Up. 7-Up, it seemed like they always had really great graphics. So thought that was a cool piece. Like I said, I'm guessing it's 60s era. Still has a nice look to it. Definitely happy with that. And we got 2 more cans to catch yet tonight. This next one, I'm thinking it's probably 20s, maybe 30s. Glad you enjoyed it, Ron. These next 2 cans are great. This one, like I said, I'm guessing 20s, could be 30s. You don't see a lot of these. This company, they weren't around all that long. It is fairly popular. It's just stuff you just don't see. From our friends at Vidal. This particular one was a 5-pound grease can. Gear and chassis lubricants. This one actually marked water pump from our friends at Vidal. Look at this thing. How good is that? We had a good day yesterday, Hubcap Dylan. I'm excited with this stuff. This thing is a beauty. It's got a little bit of paint loss. We see some chipping and things in it right there. There goes more hearts. On the back, it has some information as well as the VDOL logo here at the bottom. And honestly, big job. That's why I'm not as excited about Coke signs. I've got a few, and there's some that I kind of like, but overall, I'm not huge on. I looked at one yesterday that I really liked, but just not a ton of stuff that like I said, it's become so common that it's not as exciting. So this thing I was really excited about. Great graphics, great colors, VDOL, not stuff you see on a regular basis, especially in decent shape because they're so early. This particular can, like I said, it's marked 5-pound grease. It is 8 inches tall. Well, if the tape measure will cooperate and turn the correct way. And across the top, it's about 5.5 across the top. So, like I said, if you guys have seen this, know anything more about it than us, started polishing, just took a rag and a little bit of an edge to it, and it's bringing some shine back to it right here. Hit the black just with some compound and a rag. So I think we're going to get a decent shine back out of this thing when we get ready to polish this one up. New raffle can. Well, we may put the raffle entries in it, but we're not going to raffle it off. I can tell you that. But just a great looking piece. I mean, it's just the way they have the bursts coming out from behind the triangle on that thing, or the diamond shape on it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Big job. It is a great design. Not a common one. So was really pretty excited about it. It was a great looking piece. So like I said, they said they sold some of the really good ones earlier, and this is the stuff that we still found after a while. The giant Texaco signs you got a while back. Maybe the letters and the buttons, maybe. I do still have piles of those. That's what I figured, Brett. Yep. So we've got one more. Yep, the large letters. Yep, I've still got some. One more can, and this one is another can I don't think we've ever seen before. A little bit different shape. The top had been cut out of it, unfortunately, but fortunately they didn't ruin the graphics. They cut from the top, so the top ridge is still there. So when you're looking straight at the front, you really don't notice, other than the fact there's no handle or spout on it. But great looking piece. Let me go grab it and share it with you. See if any of you guys have seen this one before, maybe know something about it. It's dated 1935, so it's 90 years old, so it's definitely got some age to it. And but it's great. Let's check it out. This is a 2-gallon can. Nope, I've still got a bunch of them. I've sold a few sets. Dennis Taylor's coming to get a set. Hot Rods by Dennis Taylor. They came up a while back. He wants to come back and get a set, but I've still got some. This has to be a regional piece. The Radbill Oil Company. Has anybody on here ever heard of the Radbill Oil Company? And there's just I'm sitting here looking at this can because there's stuff on it that I haven't seen yet. And I've been looking at it for a day already. Nobody's heard of it? Well, don't feel bad. I hadn't heard of it until yesterday. But they did, in their minds at least, they produced the world's most economical motor oil. So this 2-gallon can from the Radbill Oil Company produced the world's most economical oil, guaranteed 100% pure Pennsylvania, and they branded it Penrad. Who's ever seen a Penrad motor oil can? How awesome is that? This thing is cool. Like I said, the top has been cut out. But fortunately, the way they cut it, the edge is still here. So if you just look at it from right here, the only thing you don't see is a handle or a spout. You're right, Big Red. I agree. It is pretty rad. This thing is awesome. Big job put us on one of these on pickers. Okay. And actually, Bill, just to show you the sign, I grabbed a rag and a little bit of compound. We'll buff these out and wax them. These are such great cans. Obviously, the Texaco with a paper label can't be buffed, but these two will buff and wax. There is some paint loss on the other side over here, but we can see the date on it very clearly over here, 1935. We can see the seal of the United States Testing Company on here. I don't recall seeing that before. Even the sides are pretty decent. Yeah, this thing just has a whole lot going on for it. Details everywhere, great graphics, great colors. 90 years old. Yeah. Now, like I said, just like I did a spot on the VDOL can, I did grab the rag and a little rubbing compound, and I did one end of this Penrad just to get an idea of hopefully what this thing will look like once we hit it with a buffer. I've got one of those little Harbor Freight little handheld buffers with like a 3-inch pad on it. And it works great on this type of stuff because you don't get too carried away with it like you do on a big buffer. You can hold it by hand while you're holding the can. So that's what I'll use on these. And then get a good coat of wax. But just out of curiosity, I just grabbed a rag and some compound, and I just hit this end quickly on the Penrad. And after just a few minutes with the polishing with some compound, that's what we got. So yeah, excited to see this thing buffed up, polished up, and waxed. There goes the hearts. And the certificate of quality on each end. Like I said, just a lot going on with this can. A lot. Obviously, you can see the blue a little bit better. I don't know how well it's showing up on your end, but we can see where it's polished, where we can see the navy blue. Then, of course, the red and the white against it. They also made lighter fluid, charcoal lighter fluid. So there's some of those cans on eBay. I haven't even looked that far, honestly. This is just one of those where it was kind of, we walked up on it, and there was a bunch of cans on the rack, a lot of common stuff, but like I said, these obviously just jumped out at us. This being a 2-gallon, it is definitely a different type of size. We'll go across the bottom on this one, and you can see a little over 9 inches across the bottom. And almost 7 wide. And that's right, Ryan, it will display great. It's not too huge, but it's not too small. And about 8.5 high. Yeah, this one's already got the top cut out of it. We could use it to put our names in. But, there again, when you see something you've never seen before, and they weren't dirt cheap, but they weren't stupid expensive. It wasn't like they were several $100s a piece, but they weren't cheap either. But still great pieces. So there again, this thing, the only thing that can make this better is if it had some sort of a picture on it, if it had an animal or a car or something on it. But with the font, the graphics, there's just a whole lot of great stuff going on with this particular can. Like I said, can't wait to see when the rest of the can's polished out like that and waxed up. So anyway, those were my finds for the week. And that's right, Big Job. Like I said, they weren't crazy priced, but they weren't $10 a piece either. But there again, when it has the combination of the colors, the graphic, the fonts, and just jumps at you like that, it's like, wow, hey, there's Briggs stopping by tonight. So that's kind of what it boiled down to. Like I said, this shop was a lot of car stuff, but a lot of soda stuff. And it was all the kinds of stuff that we check out on here. Everything from ashtrays to, of course, signs. They had a decent amount of toys. There was a few toys that were definitely on the fence about as well. But obviously the cans were priority. The 7-Up sign is great, but the cans were like, ugh, wow. They did have a couple big racks of Hot Wheels. Obviously, we just brought the one red line home with us. But there were a lot of them there. There again, we kind of had to be picky and choosy about priorities when you go to a place like that. But like I said, it was really nice. In fact, I told the guys, like, hey, it's nice not walking to a place full of DVDs and dishes for once. But on the other hand, because of that, you're going to pay what the stuff's worth. They're pretty close to what it's worth. He was fair with me, so I couldn't complain. But it wasn't, you weren't buying them for $10 a piece either. But there again, it's stuff that you don't see. When it's stuff that you don't see and the condition's still pretty decent, sometimes you don't have a problem throwing a few extra bucks at it. So, yeah, they did have several red lines, Bill, nothing carded. But there were some that had a really nice blue splitting image, which we've got some splitting images, and I don't remember if we've got a blue one or not. We're going to double check that. I'm going to be back up in this area next week. We may swing back by there next week and see what happens. But I was happy with what we got. So, hey, Steve stopping by. But anyway, like I said, been kind of a screwed up week for me. Need to get back home and get to work tomorrow. But it was going to work out to where I could get on for a bit tonight, even though we didn't have a lot to talk about. Well, when you find cans like that, it definitely helps the trip out. No doubt about that at all. So we'll see what next week brings. If we can jump on, it'll be something kind of short like this, because really I don't have much else to go over tonight. We talked about the Nobody's page. This week, I will be back for Toy Tuesday, so we will catch that, of course. So we're just going to kind of have to play it by ear. But regardless, I was excited about this stuff. I figured you guys would be too. So that's a great reason, if nothing else, to jump on for a bit. So we'll see how things go, how things shake out. We've got some great videos coming up. If you saw Pete talk and Bill talking earlier in the chat, the members videos that are coming up this week. If you guys remember, about 3 years ago, we found a 75 Olds 98 coupe in a garage about 8 miles from Great Bend. We'll see you later, Big Rig Brett. And that car's back on the road, so we've got another video on that. That'll be popping up for the public video Wednesday night. There again, it's a highly original car. There was a little bit of touch-up paint work Dad had to have done, cleaned it up good. Him and his buddy Jay got it running. And so that video will be coming up Wednesday night. And finally got the video up on the adopted car stuff. I kind of spaced that off and was looking at videos for Friday night. And I was like, shoot, we got to get that up. So obviously we did get to Pioneer Village a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. And Yeah, it hasn't been bad. It's just a little crazy. Yep. Hey, Jeff, we did make it for a bit. So we got them the money, and we got all the money that you guys donated for the Adopt a Car program. That stuff is so we got that check to them. Got a video done on it. A couple more videos from there we need to get to work on and get some of that up. But that video will be coming up. Overall, video wise, I've been doing a bunch of video work while I've been out of town. This weekend when I've had a few minutes here and there. As of right now, I've got you bet, John. Glad you enjoyed it. I've got 26 videos in the can, most of which are already uploaded. I've got 4 or 5 I still need to do some work on to get them uploaded, but 26 videos shot. A couple more from Pioneer Village, a couple more from my buddy's place when I was there at his yard a couple months ago. Still got 3 or 4 Auburn Cord Duesenberg videos coming up. I know you guys love those, so we'll get to work on start popping some of those up. The rest of it is all new inventory, which is like 16 or 17 of those videos, all new inventory. I got a ton of it shot, so we'll be feeding that stuff out, but drop them all at once. Yeah. There'd be so many of them, nobody would be paying attention to any of them. So we've got them all loaded and ready to go. So we got tons of stuff to start sharing with you guys. All great stuff, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But that's what's coming up next week for public videos. And obviously we'll get a few things up for the members as well. But yep, that 7598, man, that is a whole lot of blue, but it is such a great blue. You know, those cars are not high dollar cars. So it was more of a preservation than a restoration. You know, that's not a 6-figure car you can spend a fortune on. But it was such a good original car that it needed to be saved and put back on the road. And that's what they did. So it's running and driving and looks pretty sharp. It's going to make somebody just a nice old cruiser. So anyway, that stuff is coming up. We will catch Tuesday. We'll jump on Tuesday for a bit and go through some stuff then as well and see how things shake out. So like I said, I apologize, guys, tonight. It's just kind of a short little jump on for a bit, but had the opportunity to do it. Not 100% sure I'll have the chance tomorrow or next week to do it. So didn't want to completely forget you guys or ignore you guys. But that's kind of what my schedule looks like. After this next week or two, I will be home, I hope, for several weeks in a row. So that stuff will hopefully be coming. You'll have time where we'll get back on a somewhat normal schedule. And really, honestly, guys, this summertime stuff gets, you know, we don't have near the crowd on in the summer anyway, because I know everybody's busy. People have things going on. But by the time we get back to, you know, getting into later in August, going into September, people, you know, kids get back in school, people start having a little more time to get back on a normal schedule. We'll be getting to that point here fairly soon on our end as well. So we'll see how things shake out there. But anyway, guys, appreciate you stopping by tonight. We'll probably go ahead and wrap unless you guys have any other comments to check in with. And I'll keep an eye out on that for just a second. But glad you guys are excited about our finds. Obviously, I'm excited about it. It's just there again. It's some of that stuff that when you see it, sometimes you just got to step up and buy it. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and call it a short night tonight. I do appreciate you guys swinging by just for a bit. Hope you enjoyed this stuff. And if we can, and I'll put up another post next week. You bet, Big Red. Appreciate you guys being here. I don't know if it's the best show around, but I'll take it. I mean, we are a family of nobodies. That's very true. So we'll see how things shake out next week. Maybe I'll find something again next week and have nothing else we can jump on for a bit and check that out. At least that still lets us get together for our weekly gathering for a bit and get caught up. So we'll see how it goes. If you guys didn't notice, the YouTube posting where I can put a note up on YouTube did work today. That has not worked for about a month. It did work today. It's kind of ironic, though. I didn't do it, but I thought about it because I was in a hurry. When I put the post up on YouTube, a little box popped up. How's posting working for you? Well, it ain't worked. It's kind of sucked here lately, but it was working today. So we'll do the same thing next week. I'll let you guys know Sunday afternoon how things are looking and what we may or may not be able to do next Sunday night. If you guys want to jump on for a short bit, just for our weekly get together. So anyway, guys, make sure you're in for the raffle for the cord hubcap that we're giving away in a couple weeks. An original 1936 810 cord hubcap, real deal, original, 90-year-old actual hubcap off of an 810 cord. So we'll be giving that away in a couple weeks. You guys don't want to miss that. We'll catch you Tuesday night for some Toy Tuesday. We'll get some more videos that dropped this week. A lot of cool stuff coming up. Appreciate you guys swinging by for a bit tonight, and glad you enjoyed the stuff. Thanks for being here. We'll see some of you Tuesday night, and hopefully, if everything works out, we will see you guys for, even if it's just a short abbreviated version, we'll catch you again next week. So do a short and have a dinner with us during the week. Okay. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, glad you guys were here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the support, all the great comments. Appreciate it. And I'm going to jump off here, get a few more things done and get ready to hit the road in the morning. Hey, Austin stopped by for just a bit, but glad you stopped in for just a second. And I'm going to get home, get back to work so I can leave again at the end of this week. Been nuts over. We're making headway. So thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate it. We'll see some of you Tuesday, and we may see some of you next Sunday night too. I will keep you posted on how things are going there. Regardless, have a great week, everybody, and thanks for being here.